it's a damn lie. I know it's a damn lie. I'm sick.
My brother was an
Excuse me, did I ever tell you that?
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
I remember the first day.
Ever.
I remember the first day I asked, I was about 4 years old.
All I said is your father is dead. That's all I said, and I left it at that.
He went to the store to get him some milk and some Pampers, and he got killed.
Mr. Hughes is stuck between two crazy moms in court today. One is his own mother and the other is his ex. Ms. McBirth, his mother, is sick and tired of her son having so many babies. For this reason, she's denying her potential grandchild and demands for a paternity test.
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all. Can I show it? Can I?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Oh, look at her go. She really brought a picture of father and baby to court saying that they look nothing alike. Back to the ex-girlfriend, she insists that Ms. McBirth is in denial and is projecting her feelings on the baby's paternity.
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere.
That was a very racist thing to say, Ms. McBirth. Does this woman realize that genes work in the funniest ways? What a thing to say in the courtroom. Sure, she may be tired of her son having children willy-nilly, but that does not give her the right to be mean to her son's baby mama.
Okay, so a little over a year. Were you in a committed relationship?
I thought we was.
You did, okay. And was he the only person you were intimate with during that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now she knows she lying. She lying.
Yes, ma'am.
This DNA right here has been in our life. She's never was a girlfriend.
Whoa, it seems like we have 3 crazy women in court today. Now, where did all of this even come from? Who is this woman and why is she all up in Ms. Jackson's business? If she says she believes was in a committed relationship with Mr. Hughes, then let the poor woman be.
A side chick.
And it's all she has done is she's been trying to put the baby on us.
Force it. Yeah, you have. Don't sit up there and act like you haven't.
But the thing about her,
she's trying to push that baby on. That ain't mine. I didn't sleep with her. That child is not ours.
When you say she's trying to push the baby on you, what do you mean?
She wants me to acknowledge that child.
Now, Ms. Terrell and Ms. McBirth both claim that Ms. Jackson simply wants to throw the baby to their family. They believe that the baby sure as hell isn't theirs. Now, wait a minute. Isn't it suspicious that the supposed father of the baby has not said a word since we started this case? What a family of assertive women.
Tell me about the first time you met Elijah.
I seen him at the doctor's office where I was taking his real children to the doctor, and it was a newborn, and I walked past him, and I kind of glanced over there, and I seen this little white baby. I knew it wasn't mine, and I ain't had nothing else to say or do about it since then.
Whoa. Hold up. Look how this woman is ready to go head-to-head with Judge Lake. So many things are wrong with everything Ms. McBirth just said. First, his real children? She was taking her son's real children to the hospital? How many kids exactly does this man have? From how many women too? And what? Is he mute?
I'm sick of all these little hookers trying to say my son is the daddy. I'm sick of it. I get babies dropped off here, dropped off there. I'm sick of it.
But
it stops today. Because that baby is not my son.
Here's the thing that she does.
It is.
Here's the
sorry.
That's a lie.
No,
that's
it's
a lie.
not.
That's a lie.
First of all, she's a liar because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last week.
There was a sex party? The police came? What about the baby? Where was the baby while all of this was going down? Also, can someone please tell Ms. McBirth that the babies she'll be picking up would definitely not stop today? Considering that her mute son already has about 1 million kids already.
Miss McBirth, I have to ask you, you're very tough on Miss Jack. Do you have anything to say about your son's behavior?
My son I know exactly what type of person he is. He just as trifling as she is. He's a handsome guy. He's my son. And I know what he do. But he still, no matter what he do, he's...
Of course, we cannot expect Judge Lake to sit still and take all of that from crazy moms. She's sitting up and asking the right questions. Her son has been in the court since the start of the case and he has not said a word. We have no idea whether he accepts the child or not. Now she's saying the sight of her son being loving to his baby makes her want to throw up.
Do you believe you are Elijah's father?
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white, you know.
My son's.
My father's a brown-haired, blue-eyed dude, so.
How you know? He just gonna say that because, you know, she's gonna freak him after this.
Yeah.
Accusing your brother of not having...
Oh my goodness, she married a white man? After all of that, she still has the guts to be so racist about her potential grandchild. Considering that his past is biracial, that provides more reason for the baby to look white. What an unreasonable woman Ms. McBirth is proving to be. After all of this bickering, we get to hear the results.
Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
I'm through. I know that's a damn lie. I know that's a damn lie. I'm sick.
For 14 years, Mr. Hoyer has been on a quest to find his father, only to learn that the man he believes to be his father has already passed away. However, Mrs. Porter and her mother, Mrs. Horn, insist that Mr. Hoyer has no connection to their family. These women are determined to prove it too.
Mr. Hoyer, after 14 years of being in foster care, you desperately searched for your father. Sadly, that search ended when you learned that your alleged father, Mr. James Horn, was tragically killed. Make matters worse, you claim his family rejected you, and so you're here today to prove to them that you are indeed his son.
He really spent 14 years in foster care with zero idea of who his father was. And to make matters worse, when he finally thinks he has found him, he finds out he passed away. Also, the family he believes he finally found wants absolutely nothing to do with him.
So, Mr. Hoyer, please share, what was it like growing up without a father?
Your Honor, it was like hell growing up without a father. I was taken away when I was 3 and 9. I was in foster care for 14 years, got adopted when I was 14. Never got to learn how to shave, never got to learn how to tie a tie. I don't know who my father is because my mom used to be a stripper.
Oh my goodness. So his mother was a stripper, and that's why it was so hard to find his father in the first place. Wow, what a messed up childhood he had. And to make matters worse, apparently, the new boyfriend knew who the father was. Whoa, okay.
So this is a photo of the man you were told is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you look at this picture, do you see yourself?
I do in some ways. I see myself through the smile and through the forehead and the eyebrows.
Miss Porter, all of this time, these years before your brother passed, he never mentioned having a child.
Never.
They do look somewhat alike, but in this court, looks don't mean anything. Only matching DNA. And hold up, the alleged father on his deathbed mentioned he doesn't have any kids. Could this actually be true, or was he just hiding his child?
He went over and asked my alleged uncle about the name, James Horn, and he's like, yes, that's my brother. So my adopted brother came and got me, took me over to his neighbors, and that's how I met him.
What was that encounter like? What happened? Take me step by step.
When I approached the house, I walked into the door.
Whoa, what a case. So that's how he found out this man could possibly be his father? What a mess this all is. Some family members say he could be his kid. Others say there's no chance. All this guy wants to know is who the father is, nothing else.
It was a secret. I didn't even know I was really pregnant until I was 6 months. But like I have told my son, there is another man before this man.
So what you're saying is you were open and honest with your son that you had also been intimate with another man.
Wait a minute. Is Mrs. Gentry saying that she had sexual relations with another man during the time her son was conceived? That means two things. One, she cheated on the man she claims to have been in love with. Two, she's not certain Mr. Horn is her son's father.
When the first time we ever seen her was 2 weeks after the funeral. 2 weeks after my brother was put in the ground, this young lady came and knocked at my mother's door. I have your brother's child. I'm like, that's not my brother's child.
So Ms. Porter and her family sent Ms. Gentry away with her little boy 20 years ago? That sounds a bit brutal. What if he turns out to be their blood? That's 23 years down the drain just because he didn't look like them. Oh, Ms. Porter. Life doesn't work like that anymore, okay?
Do you feel that there's any possibility that he could be your grandchild?
It could be. I wish it was. I hope so.
You said you do hope photos. Now this first set of photos is Mr. Hoyer at 8 years old and a young picture of Mr. Horn. Do you see a resemblance?
Not really. Not in that one.
Now that Mrs. Porter admits that there's a resemblance between her late brother and Mr. Hoyer, you can tell that they really want him in their family, and maybe, just maybe, the late Mr. Horn lied to them about not having any kids.
That makes me relieved that there's someone out there that will accept me. So hopefully I am James Horn's son, because I will actually have a place where I will be able to fit in. I don't like being unwanted fairy tale family.
We can see why he desperately wants the results to come out positive. It's been even more difficult for Mr. Hoyer to fit in because he is biracial. His mom did say she was from a racist family, so maybe she couldn't deal with being the mom of a biracial child.
He won't have
Why
to
not?
deal with
I'll
you
always be his
because he
mother.
will get what's coming to him.
Why not? I always be his mother.
You might always be the mother, but you're not a mama. A mama. How this woman did his child right here when he could have been at our household. He could have been with us.
That's right, Mrs. Porter. There's a huge difference between giving birth to a child and being that child's mother. And so far so good, Mrs. Gentry has failed terribly at the latter. Let's see what Mrs. Gentry has to say.
You hurting me. You hurting our
I
whole
didn't bring
entire
this
family.
out.
He don't know
You
nothing
did.
about no aunts and uncles,
need to come up
no
and take it up with
grandparents.
him.
He don't know nothing.
Miss Horn, I have to ask you
Good.
because as you can hear, this is a very passionate.
Now let me.
Excuse me, ladies.
Ma'am, act appropriately.
Let's
Sorry.
be
Please forgive me.
appropriate.
Mrs. Gentry isn't even the least bit apologetic. It seems like she was forced to be in court today and she's not even trying to deny it. Minute after minute, we see how terrible a mother she is. But wait, there's more. The results are in, and we are about to get the biggest shock ever.
In the case of Hoyer v. Gentry, Porter, Horn, as it pertains to the likelihood of whether Mr. James Horn is your biological father, the DNA test results have determined that Mr. Horn is not likely your biological father.
Son, you shouldn't have done this.
No, you shouldn't have done this.
Ms. Rinehart believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Isn't that something?
Miss Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who father is, and you say that Ms. Rinehart has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
One super difficult thing is to get through a case where the alleged father is dead. Now, we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now, all we've got is what his mom knows or what she thinks she knows.
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father. So he deserves that right to know who his father is and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not.
Take a look at that. It is nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone. But how about the rest of the story? How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there is only one way to find out.
That picture.
I understand.
My son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out, and I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own, my gut tells me this is not my grandson. I do not see my son in that.
Looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Rinehart isn't even on the fence about it. She is totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why? How could she possibly be so certain?
We had, became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's father, I did not sleep with anybody else in that time when I was with him.
Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. 2 people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Mrs. Crow's story is quite convincing.
Well, that's your own opinion. That's your own opinion.
The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
And I took care of him.
And my son,
I didn't leave him because of that.
Mom. And she could have told him she was pregnant. That's his.
Now, this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Rinehart's little technique to identify her grandkids is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
He has a silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, there are things about him that are a lot like me. But at the same time, you cannot deny that. That's his father.
Ms. Rinehart says the baby doesn't look like her, And Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please understand that all of this does not matter here? Any baby can look like any of their parents, grandparents, be lighter or darker too. We're at paternity court to check out the baby's genes, ma'am.
On Facebook of another man that
My
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And you know, I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son. My son has the right to know, and Jay has...
You can tell Ms. Rinehart is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now, she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't contacted.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's
knew.
supposedly the alleged father, not...
It don't have to be alleged because we're gonna find out today.
So,
You're gonna
listen.
see for yourself.
Yes.
I can let my scab build back up.
Because it's all about
I'm
you,
the
right?
one that took-
It's about my son. It don't matter about
I'm
you
the one
or
that
me.
took
It's
care of
about my
Jason.
son.
It is glaring how much these two women can't stand themselves. And it is sad because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
And this is serious because JC is gone now.
Yeah,
He's no longer with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old. Only seen his father one time, and the mother and the grandmother are...
The two women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say. So Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. It is time to resolve this case once and for all.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Rinehart and Thomas Crow, 99.6% you are related. Ms. Rinehart, you have never laid eyes on your grandchild. Ms.
Nothing but
Crow,
picture.
I have to ask you.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time. I was drunk, he came over.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo, nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor, the whole part 6 times, that's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
So you had sex with Mr. Gonzalez one time?
Yes.
The sex was protected or not?
It wasn't.
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question of who's lying between them. Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Now, is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubts is I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, he's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, he showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Whoa, she did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? Mauricio, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures like she said? These pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
I guess what you would call it fast. That was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter at 18.
Whoa, let's get get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was how old? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now, all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy, he keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, actually, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I told him, you're the baby daddy.
Was that your response to that question, Ms. Salvo?
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Has he been saying that since elementary school, Ms. Salvo?
Mr. Gonzalez, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl. The baby used to come to my house. She used to eat in my house. My mom used to get her stuff, everything.
Oh, what a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is over, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
And if she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
You're going to step up to the plate?
Yes, ma'am.
And do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the result. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
What a guy. Now we get to find out whose story holds water. From Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez, claiming that his fiancé slept with 1 million men and some. Who made the mistake, and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
You are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Can I still come around and see Amaya and help her out if I can? Because for a year and 4 or 5 months, she's been my daughter and she's still gonna be my daughter. And I told her that before she came in the show. I got on my knees and I told her that no matter what.
Mr. Cooper and his mother believe Armani, his last child with his wife, isn't his. But his wife, Ms. Cooper, is confident he's Armani's father and is uncomfortable with how much her mother-in-law meddles in their marriage. Let us find out more details about this case.
I had an inclination that something was going on. I was actually working and I got sent home early. There was a power outage. They sent us home. And as I'm pulling into the driveway, I see this black car and this guy walks into the building we live in. Didn't think nothing of it.
Wow. So Mrs. Cooper brought another man into her marital home and lied that her husband didn't live there. That's one crazy thing to do. This man must have been there several times while Mr. Cooper was at work.
That at that time, what I did was I wanted Walter to feel all the pain that he had inflicted on me all them years. We've been off and on for 9 years. The first 4 years of our relationship, he cheated on me the whole time.
Your husband cheated on you and the best way you could handle it was to cheat too? His actions hurt her and the kids, and she thought the best way to correct that was to hurt him back? That is one absurd, messed up thing to do.
I know who the other guy is.
Okay.
When I actually had a chance to meet him, we would sit down, talk, we hang out.
You and the guy she cheated with?
Me and the guy that she cheated with. We would
sit down, talk, and hang out?
We sat down.
I've never heard of such.
He didn't know at that time.
No, I didn't know, but see, this is the thing. I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know?
Whew. So, of all the men she could possibly cheat with, Mrs. Cooper chose the friend of her husband. Her husband's friend agreed to it too. That must have been a punch in his gut when he found out. And guess what? This case gets even more complicated.
My concern is this. When I look at Armani, I don't see me.
So, Ms. Cooper, I see you're very emotional.
When I conceived, I was with Walter. We both went to the doctors and asked them for advice on conception day and everything.
Sir, when we look at Armani, we don't see you either. Fine, he has white blood in his ancestry and all, but this baby does not look like Mr. Cooper. We understand why he and his mother are not convinced. However, we must always remember that paternity is hardly ever about skin tone or resemblance, and it's more about the DNA.
At that time, you said, I'm going to be her father. Did you have a doubt at the time you signed the birth certificate? Did you have any doubt?
I've had a doubt since.
Just like everybody else that first seen
that
child.
Ultimate opportunities to take a test then. Why a year
Just
and a
1
half
second,
later?
Ms. Cooper.
Aside from the subject of race, Mr. Cooper and his mom are disturbed by Ms. Cooper's infidelity. Armani coming out looking all white was only the cherry on top. It reinforced their belief that the pregnancy was for someone else.
These issues of what's going on with me because I'm feeling like I can't write a song anymore. I'm having problems in my own personal business life, I bring it to my wife.
Okay.
Okay, and I tell her this is what the situation is. We tend to, I brought it.
Wait a minute with that. Mr. Cooper met Mrs. Cooper when she was pregnant by another man? Whew, that means that he stepped up as the father of that child and married her. And since then, they raised the boy together, along with their other kids. And now, it seems like it's happening again?
I believe in my heart that that's his. That's his baby.
And as you look at her,
I see him
Mr.
in her.
Cooper?
If you look at her face, her eyes change colors just like his does.
Mrs. Cooper seems very confident, but what does the way that the baby sleeps have to do with anything? That piece of detail does not matter. Mr. Cooper's about to find out if he's been taking care of a child that isn't his for the second time.
As my son, you took on this responsibility. Then respect your wife. Your wife needs to respect you, and they all need to love their kids. And that's how I feel about it.
You know what? Ms. Moore, I appreciate that because you want to break this cycle.
Well, Grandma's right on point, and it's time to put an end to this debate. Is baby Armani a product of Mr. and Ms. Cooper's marriage, or is she a product of infidelity? Well, let's find out, shall we?
Mr. Cooper are not her father.
You know I still love you. This is something you all gonna have to work through. Listen to me, Ashley. Hold your head up. You have children that now you have to stand up and be a real mother. You have a little girl.
She says that Mr. Kidd and his mother are trying to steal her kid from her, and she is not having it. Mr. Kidd and his mother, on the other hand, are certain Nathaniel is theirs. Let us get to the bottom of this crazy case.
You say Ms. Rawlings is a manipulative user who convinced you that you were the father of her son, Nathaniel, then changed her mind when someone better came along. You and your mother say Ms. Rawlings' mind games have wreaked emotional havoc on your family.
This is about to be one interesting case. How do you tell a girl you cannot have kids only to come back all of a sudden and you're sure her child is yours? What a guy, really. What a guy.
How it happened was we met through a mutual friend, and I didn't know anything about Mr. Kidd starting off. My mutual friend ended up leaving, and the situation that I was in, I didn't have anywhere to go. And that's how me and Mr. Kidd ended up having relations, because I was staying with him. But as everything progressed and everything started off.
Looks like one big love rectangle. Just how many people are involved in this story? Mr. Kidd, Ms. Rawlings, the mutual friend, the new lady. It's kind of hard to keep up. One thing we've gathered, though, is she was in a sexual relationship with Mr. Kidd and some other guy at the same time.
You were pregnant, and then somehow he assumed he was the father?
When I found out I was pregnant, Mr. Kidd told me himself that he has some type of rare form blood disease and that me and his child would die if I was pregnant by him.
Oh, he had a rare blood disease.
Well, well, well. The story's coming together now. Seems Mr. Kidd didn't really understand the disease, and because he's never gotten anyone pregnant, he thought Ms. Rawlings couldn't be pregnant for him. What a naive young man. But it doesn't end there.
We've never been in a relationship.
So it wasn't just a sexual relationship?
No, ma'am. We were just, she just needed somewhere to stay. So I was just looking out for her, and it just became a sexual encounter.
It was an encounter?
No.
More than one, but.
So that's what we call a sexual relationship.
At least Mr. Kidd, his mother, and Ms. Rawlings agree on one thing. Mr. Kidd and Ms. Rawlings were in a strictly sexual relationship. There were no feelings attached, no love, nothing. They were just in that situation because they were living together.
Here at the defendant podium, you say you know Mr. Kidd is not your child's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a manipulation tactic.
It was, as long as you were giving her what she wanted and needed at the time, it was okay. I've never one time been told I wasn't the grandmother. She did not ever say.
Now here we go again. Baby Nathaniel can't possibly look like everybody. At this point, it seems everyone is seeing what they want to see, and it's quite funny because it isn't all about the child's physical appearance. It honestly feels like Ms.
I actually came to the hospital after I gave birth to Nathaniel, and they instantly, you seen it in his face and in Nathaniel's face, his face lit up. And even his brother was there and was like, yeah, man, that's your son.
The other guy?
Yes. No, because I didn't have my ID.
Rawlings is one lady who is easily persuaded. This person tells her her son looks like them and she agrees. Someone else says the same thing and she agrees. Make up your mind, sister.
She was going through a situation and got kicked out of where she lived because her choice of men are not just the greatest, I guess, in the world. He wasn't safe. She wasn't safe. She was trying to get her life together. She gave me the baby for a period of time.
How long?
I had him for a month and a couple days.
The more she speaks, the more we see how confused Ms. Rawlings is. It's one thing to tell a man he's not the father of your son, and it's another thing to take advantage of his family's kindness and availability. It's unfair to keep manipulating them that way.
It's a boy, you know what I'm saying? I'll be around, you know, I'll help out, but I couldn't take care of him as if he was my child.
All right, I think I've heard enough. I'm ready for the results. Jerome?
Well, Judge, we've also had enough. Who is Nathaniel's dad? Mr. Kidd or the other guy somewhere? What do you think? This is one very complicated case, but the test results will hopefully resolve it once and for all.
Mr. Kidd, you are the father. You are the father.
Thank you.
And at least even the fact that he said that he would have stood up, that was what I was still going for, period. The fact that that is his son, I am happy because me and him, we don't have a hate type relationship.